Welcome back to Her Brave Story podcast. I am your host, Chrystal Dawn. I'm a saltwater mama, a storyteller, and a women's empowerment coach on a mission to help women reclaim their power and thrive. I am super stoked to be with you here on the eve of Mother's Day weekend and my first live solo show here with you, and I'm super excited. I just hit live and go on this thing, so let's go. Let's see. All right, everybody is here. Thank you so much. I am super excited to be here with you today, and what I really wanted to drop in and start with was a little bit about my own first Mother's Day and to welcome everybody who is here for the first time. Welcome to Her Brave Story podcast. And for those of you who are coming back, thank you so much again for being here. This podcast is really to amplify women's voices and to share women's stories because women's stories matter. Now, more than ever, we need women's stories out in the world. And Mother's Day to me is really about celebrating mothers around the world in every aspect of mothering. And for those of you who are coming into this conversation now, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so grateful that you are here. We're talking about Mother's Day and mothering. And this is going to be a little bit about my first Mother's Day. And I wanted to welcome any of you who are here who are not mothers yet, or who have been mothers and who have lost children, or who have tried to be mothers and are unable, and those of you who choose not to be mothers but have a mother. And for those of you who might have a troubled relationship with your mother, this conversation is really for all of us, not just women who have children. So I wanted to clarify that and say that you are welcome in this space. It is an inclusive space, and I am really going to be speaking from the space of being a mother. I have a 6.5-year-old son who is outside with his mate. By outside, I just mean outside this room. So you might hear him and his mate just jump in here at any time and say, "Mom, I need a snack. This is what's happening. Ah, where are the Legos?" And that's life, and that's mothering, and that's a space. That's a space that I'm really in, and it's a space that I've become comfortable in. How my story started with mothering, I don't know if you've ever been in a space where you didn't know how you'd ever figure it out, or if you could figure it out. That's definitely a space that I was in. It was 6.5 years ago when the end of the collapse of my decade-long marriage happened. A few weeks after our son was born and my ex-husband walked out, I found myself holding our son and wondering what my next steps were. And that was really my breakdown for the breakthrough that would come. And at the time, I couldn't see that. I couldn't see that that was really an exciting time or a time to say, what next? It was really a broken-hearted time. It was really a very challenging time, especially as a new mom. And I want to take a moment here to really drop into that space of, if you are a single mom or you are a new mom and you're really in the throes of mothering right now for the first time, it is such a deep, wild ride. And even though you love your child and it is so wondrous and full and exciting, there's also a lot of tiredness, a lot of loneliness, a lot of isolation that comes with it, or can come with it. It certainly did for me. I felt deeply isolated, and that's part of where this podcast stems from. It stems from a desire to really connect deeply with women and have these Me Too moments, to say, yeah, me too. I'm going through that too, or I know what that's like too. And so if you are a single mother, if you are in that, me too. Me too. It was not easy. It is not something that I knew how to navigate. And on my first Mother's Day, really there's a deeper story, but what happened was I found myself alone on my first Mother's Day, which was about 8 months into my son's life. And at that time, my ex-husband, my then husband, let me know he was going overseas. And I remember this feeling of like, wow, wow, okay, well, I've been waiting all this time. And now I can't wait any longer for anyone else to come and save me. I can't wait for something to change. I got to do something. And so I decided to take out my caravan, my 1971 caravan Roxy, and I strapped my son onto the front in a baby carrier. And he and I, for the first time, I'd never towed Roxy. I'd never done anything with her. I drove Roxy out and we went and we spent my first Mother's Day camping. And I met a girlfriend out and her two daughters. Kaz, if you're listening to this is you, babe. And my friend Liz showed up with her dog. And we all hung out there together at this campground. It was a beautiful place on the river, not far from here. And I remember that feeling of just driving out, of saying, wow, this is it. This is me taking a brave step for me. And anyone who's listening, if you have ever done anything that you felt terrified to do and you didn't know if you could do, this is it. This is the moment when we say yes to ourselves and we leave the old self behind. And that was really a huge turning point for me, to step into the unknown and to have my baby with me and have no other real support, and be met with support from my sisters, from my friends, from my girlfriends, from my female friends who showed up for me and who continued to show up for me and continue to show up for me in my life. So I want to honor them and honor mothers in that way, the moms who show up for us, whether it's our own mom or other moms in our life that have continued to show up and to share their wisdom and grace and care for us so tenderly in those moments when we really need to be held, like my own mom holding me and holding my son, and just the beauty that comes from the gentleness and the kindness of a mom who's tenderly loving her child, and the yearning we all have for that love, for that tender loving care. For me, that weekend changed everything, and that week, because I ended up staying longer. My friends went back and my son and I stayed, and that was really a testament to what would come next, which was an entire journey. And this is part of my own brave story that's still playing out. And the story that says you're worth your own loving care. No one is coming to save you. And what does that mean? It means that you're going to be the one to save you, and that God or source, the universe, is holding you. And that when you step out, a net is going to appear for you. That you're not alone in this. Don't want to encourage anybody who might be wanting to take a step out and not know how to do that right now. For me, I was taken right to the edge. I had no choice. It wasn't like I had a choice. I remember sitting there on the edge of my bed when I got the call from my ex-husband, then husband, and he called and he's like, yeah, I'm going overseas. And I remember I felt like the oxygen had been like sucked right out of the room. And I'm choking back tears. And I look back on the bed and my infant son, our infant son, is laying there. And I remember thinking, I never, ever want him to see me like this, to see me waiting, to see me hoping, to see me helpless and hopeless. And even though our relationship, our marriage had broken down a few weeks after our son was born and he walked out, I still had this secret hope that he might one day return and be the father and the husband that I longed him to be. And it was so clear that that was never going to happen. Yes?
My dad's here.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, buddy. And that's one of the kids leaving. And this is mom life. I want to model for you brilliance and imperfection because, look, you can run a podcast, you can run a business, you can do these things while your kids are here, while you're doing other things. And I'm not advocating that I'm being irresponsible and I left the stove on or that they're playing with knives out there. What I'm saying is that we can do hard things. And it took every ounce of me in that moment when I got off the phone and I looked back and I saw him. And right at that moment, the curtain blew back and I saw our vintage caravan, Roxy, in the driveway, and I had never driven her before. And that's when I said, that's it, I'm going all in. I'm going to do this. And I saw a falcon fly overhead and let out a cry that I hoped wouldn't wake my son. And I knew that it was my time to break free and soar, that I had to do something. And so I did. And that was the first brave step for me. It was the first brave step of stepping out and saying, I'm taking my life into my own hands again. And it might sound easy right now, but it was not easy. I literally strapped my son to my chest in the baby carrier. I literally bent over the caravan and hooked it up with him strapped in. I literally packed everything myself. I literally did all of these things. And I look back and I think now sometimes I even get tired, like lifting the groceries out of the car and that kind of stuff. But sometimes courage in these stories that you're hearing in this space that we're exploring courage, sometimes courage doesn't just come to us like we want the courage and it comes to us. Sometimes we hit rock bottom and then we have nowhere else to go. And so we grab on to the first thing that we can, and then we just grab onto the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and we're just taking steps. We don't even realize it's courage. We know that we have to have the grit to get to that next step because we have a big why, and often that big why is the person in the back seat. And when I strapped him in the back seat and I put his little seatbelt on, I looked in the rearview mirror and I saw the caravan tied on and then the dust blowing, and I knew that was it. I was starting over. So this is for anyone who is starting over, and for mothers. When you have your child, it's like that. It's like everything else is left behind because the old you has to die. The person who you were before, she's gone now. The maiden, she's gone now. And the woman that you step into is born. The mother that you become as you're mothering your child, as you're learning alongside your child what it looks like to be a leader for your family, what it looks like to be modeling growth and imperfection, to be modeling language, to be modeling relationships and eating well and taking care of yourself and having fun, right? Because life is so much better when we have fun. And I wanted to share that and infuse this conversation with fun today, because maybe you're in your mothering and it hasn't been fun for a while, or you're in your mothering and you don't feel so adventurous. And I share this story with you today because getting out and starting to travel in the caravan, it was fun and it was adventurous, and it did lead to a breakthrough for me. And sometimes that can mean just taking a different way home, or maybe it can mean reading a different kind of book that opens up your mind, or getting around different people. Or for me, it also meant taking walks. I would take my son out in walks in the pram just around our neighborhood. I would be pushing him around in the pram in our neighborhood, but going to new streets, going to new places I had never been, finding parks. Part of that's mom life. You just have to find whatever park you can and get your kids out. I was never a park person before mothering, before mumming. And I became such a park person. especially since the house I lived in at the time was a total dive and it was hot and I could not stand being there one moment. And I share that with you because when I got in the caravan and I left the house behind, it opened up not only the road and freedom and play and adventure, it opened up my mind to say, what next? Like, who could I become? And I wanted to bring this question into this conversation today because maybe for many of us, mothering can kind of feel like a race or a marathon. And we keep going and keep going. And we hit a certain point, especially if you have younger kids like I do, a younger child, you hit a certain point, maybe around this point, 6, where they're in school age or getting tutoring or something, and you realize you have a little bit more time. You say, what do I want? So I'd love to invite you into that conversation of reflection of, what do you really want right now? What do you really want? And for me, that question hit home hard. And I realized what I really wanted was to change my life. Like, I realized that there were so many things that up until that moment led to that moment, and that I hadn't seen them, and that I was operating from the same level. So I was going to keep getting the same thing, right? I couldn't go up if I was at this same level. And that's when I did Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins, and I started to make some changes in my life. I started to question things. I started to do things differently. And that's when I dove deeply into health and wellness coaching, because I love and am deeply, deeply entrenched maybe in, or a part of well-being in my own life, natural healing, sustainability, regenerative practices. Before my son was born, I was deep into permaculture and natural building and sustainable regenerative communities and ways of living. And I taught yoga and did yoga and surf retreats. So health and wellness coaching became a great option for me. And from there, I went into plant-based nutrition, and then I decided that all of these things were really for me to get better. But along the way, I saw that they were helping other people in my community, and I realized that, like, it wasn't just about how I was treating my body. It was what I wanted for my mind, right? The mindset. And I share that with you because if you've tuned into Her Brave Story podcast, thank you. This is one of my babies. I am a mother to this podcast. I've midwifed her as well. And this is a place where we amplify women, spotlight women and the brave work they're doing, because women's stories matter. I feel this with every fiber of my being. And because of that, I went into women-centered coaching and found a mentor, Dr. Clara Zamet. With her over 25 years of experience, she is an incredible mentor. I'm so grateful to have found her and be doing women-centered work where we uncover the hidden barriers that women face, including shame, isolation, these two big ones that hold us back and separate us from others and ourselves. This podcast seeks to remedy that, to bring us together, to have inclusive conversations where we can really be seen and heard. It's the space to share tools, to share insights, to share life. I'm just going to check in here. Thank you to those of you who have tuned in. I appreciate you so much. This is already such a rich conversation. And I want to invite you to share this episode with women who need to hear her brave story, and people in your lives who are mothers, to let them know that they're not alone on this journey of mothering, that it is so big, and that new things can be possible in your journey of mothering as well. And I'm just going to take a moment here, modeling brilliance and imperfection, as I go into this. So one of the things I really wanted to talk about today was that the reason that we can feel so isolated in our mothering is one of the reasons that women can feel so isolated as well, is because we want to do it. We think we have to do it alone. There's this enculturation around us that we have to do it alone, that if we ask for help, it is a sign of weakness and it's shameful. Therefore, we continue to be isolated, we continue to pull back, we continue to do it alone, and we continue to suffer in silence. And that further isolates us from other people and ourselves. Then when we try to ask for help, we might say it in ways that push people away, or we might not be willing to accept the type of help that they want to give us, or criticize them. And these are all things that come from culture as well. I want to just normalize that. It is actually normal for these things to happen. And it is normal for moms to feel overwhelmed. It is normal for moms to be checking on ChatGPT and saying, am I crazy because of this? Am I crazy to want time on my own to just wash my face or splash my face in the morning without anybody touching me? Am I crazy to crave a moment to myself, to do something for myself? No, you're not. You're totally not. You are not alone in that. You are not crazy. I want to just normalize all of it. That even if you're having a breakdown, it's completely normal. It's okay. You're going to be okay. Get around good people. Allow yourself to be helped. And allow yourself to be held too. And if there is anyone who's listening right now who really needs to be held, let's just give ourselves a hug right now. Like a big hug. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. I did this course to help people after the fires in Maui, and it was as an emergency response person, and one of the things they taught us was this, to immediately soothe the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight system, to inhale through the nose for a count of 2 and exhale for a count of 4, or double. You can do inhale for 1, exhale for 2. But just inhale and then exhale through the nose. And this automatically starts to soothe the parasympathetic nervous system, so to bring our heart rate down. It's a great way. It's a great tool for us to have now and to share with our children. And as we drop into that calmer state today, I wanted to offer these brave truths for thriving, right? That's why you're here. That's the title of this. Brave truths for thriving that I have found through my adventures, through my mothering, and through my repartnering, which I am now in a very beautiful, happy relationship that I feel very grateful for, that has been incredibly nourishing. My partner loves and appreciates my son and treats him like his own son. And we have a beautiful life together. And it is a full circle moment to have these experiences. And I share that with you because maybe you're in something right now. Or maybe you're in a space in your own marriage where it's just gotten a bit quiet, or you hit a bump, or whatever it is, and it's okay. I think that the things that have really helped me, there are 3 things that have really helped me. The first one is presence over perfection. Showing up the way that you are, being who you are, being okay with who you are, is better than trying to wait and get it right. Like even today for me, getting the title right for this podcast to do, I'm like, okay, is anybody even going to tune in? Like, let's just go. Let's just get it up, right? And then the idea that, oh, maybe I do it tomorrow. Maybe I don't do it. I'm here. I'm showing up live for you and for me. So I am present with this. I am present with you. I'm also present with my son. I can hear him. So I don't know how much longer I have. But presence over perfection. That is key. Presence over perfection. The next one, compassion. Compassion creates connectivity. Yeah. Compassion creates, I'm looking at my notes. It is light. It's about 40. Compassion creates capacity. That was it. Compassion creates capacity. So what does that mean? It says self-kindness is not optional. We need to be kind to ourselves so that we can be kind to our kids, so that we can show up as better moms, so that we can show up as the women who we want to be in this world. We need to have self-compassion. So that's been a big learning process for me, how to be more compassionate with myself so that I can be more compassionate with others, so that I can be more compassionate with myself, so I can be more compassionate with my son, my partner, my own mom. Yeah, the deep forgiveness that comes when we become moms. And for those of us who don't have extreme trauma or something with our mom, don't have a broken relationship that way, that's still healthy to love your mom. When we come into mothering, I mean, I just, it was like a huge eye opener. I was like, wow, mom, I'm sorry I never said thank you. Like, thank you for everything. Thank you. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I never thanked you. I'm sorry I never said anything for all those beautiful things you did for me. So thank you, mom. I appreciate you. Compassion leads to capacity. We have capacity to do more. We have capacity to show up in a better way for ourselves and others. And connection heals isolation. That's number 3. So number 1, presence over perfection. Number 2, compassion for capacity. And number 3 is connection heals isolation. Connection heals isolation because when we're in community, when we are connected to other people, we come out of isolation. We have to come out of isolation. We break through isolation when we have connection and community. And this is how we really thrive. This is where accountability comes in. This is what thriving is to be connected to others. We're stronger together. Just as you and your family are stronger together, you and your little one are stronger together. That connection beats isolation. So get connected, connect to someone, reach out to someone, be a part of something larger than yourself. Those are my 3 main things. And I wanted to take a moment right now. If you don't need to close your eyes, just tune in. Just tune into this inner space. Breathing in through your nose again and out through your nose. Starting to feel that stillness cultivating within. Even listening, deep listening, and maybe thinking and springing up different things for you right now and your mothering. And I invite you into these questions that I have prepared for you. And these questions are, sorry about that. This is a new process for me because I am using this program live. Okay. And the questions that I have prepared for you have now disappeared, and that's okay. I'm going to bring them up. But you can start to think in your own space right now and to drop into your space right now. And ask, what is it that I need more of right now in my life? especially if you are a mother? What is it that I need more of right now? The next question is, what could I do differently if I didn't need to be perfect? What could I do differently if it didn't need to be perfect? What could that be? I'm going to just type it up here on the screen. Oh my goodness. Ooh, there we go. There's my name. And I can even type something else in here. I'm going to show this. The next question is going to be, and I'm going to put it up here. Where am I still waiting to feel joy? And what's one brave step I could take today? Where am I still waiting to feel joy? Like, where am I delaying joy? Or where do I want to feel joy? And what's one brave step I could take today? What's one brave step? Next question. How do I feel about my own mother, my own mama? How do I feel? What comes up? And as one of our earlier guests on the podcast, Brittany Farmer, said, ask your head, ask your heart, ask your body. You'll get 3 different answers. So how do I feel on this Mother's Day coming up? How am I feeling right now thinking about her? How am I feeling about thinking about my life with her in it or without her in it anymore? If you've lost your parent or like your mom, I'm so sorry if that's happened. And how does it feel being a mother? How do you feel? How do you feel about motherhood? How do you feel about motherhood? What's that feel like for you right now? Again, another question. Ask your body, ask your mind. And this is a powerful one. This is one that I think we all need on some level is, what's one thing I can forgive my mother for and one thing I can forgive myself for today? What's one thing I can forgive my mother for and one thing I can forgive myself for today? I share these questions with you because it's when we ask powerful questions that we can dive into these deeper spaces. And this might be something you want to revisit or something that just brought something up for you today to think about, to get curious about, maybe even hearing some of those words sparks something within you. And I trust that these lessons land where they're meant to land. And I want to pay tribute to my own mom for lifting me up, for having the courage to take me on adventures. One of the most exciting adventures I remember is we traveled in a 15-seat passenger van. My mom took out all the seats. We rented it in Vancouver, Canada, and drove across to Boston, Massachusetts, and then back through most of the states. Saw a lot of the national parks, Yellowstone, Glacier National, Space Camp, all these cool things. We got chicken pox at the Grand Canyon, and we saw the Four Corners and did this incredible trip. And she drove the entire way. And my mom, if you know her, she does not like driving. And yeah, what an incredible, crazy trip. So thank you, Mom, for all the adventures you've taken me on. The camping. We lived in tents at one point. We didn't have running water or electricity and lived in lava fields. I have this picture and I'm going to share it later of her. I'm literally sitting on my mother's head and she is lifting me up to get coconuts in this tree in Hawaii. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Hawaii. I was raised there on the island of Hawaii, the Big Island. Shout out to the BI, the Big Island. and all my friends in Ohana family there, and on Oahu, where I went to school and lived on the North Shore up there. So much love for that space and all my family and friends there. And I share that story with you about my mom because it is Mother's Day. When you're listening to this or around this, this is why I did this. And I am grateful to her, and I'm grateful for this journey that I've had in mothering. And I trust that today something is there for you that you needed to hear today, or that you share this with a mom who is going through something challenging right now, or with a mom who just really wants to celebrate other moms. Because right now I'm running a campaign called, or an experience called Brag on Her Brave Mama. I'm going to write it down here. Okay. Brag. B-R-A-G on B-R-A-G on her brave B-R-A-V-E mama, M-A-M-A. Brag on her brave mama. Now, what you can do is to just brag about a mama who you love, someone who has been incredible in your life, someone who has uplifted you, someone who has been there for you and helped you through your life. It doesn't have to be your biological mom. Maybe you're raised by your grandma, or maybe you were raised by a neighbor who really cared for you during the times when your mom just couldn't show up for you. Or maybe you never knew your mom and someone else completely else helped be that mom figure for you. And maybe you are the mom that you're celebrating, because no one is there celebrating you, whether you're in a relationship or not. Sometimes we are in relationships and still don't feel seen or supported. And sometimes we're not in a relationship and feel way more supported. So this is really an incentive to show love to all the mamas out there in all the different forms that we come in, to brag on her brave mama, and tag us, tag at Her Brave Story Podcast, at Her Brave Story Podcast on your posts, whether it's in Facebook or Instagram, or you can even send me a private message. But I'd love to see you blowing it up on Instagram, telling people how much this mama has changed your life. You don't have to have a picture of her or even use her name, her real name. You can keep that fully confidential, but you can just say, this woman showed up for me and this is how I feel. And you can be in to win a breakthrough to brave session with me, where we will unpack all these things and move you into your next level of braveness. As well, I will be sharing the shout outs on Her Brave Story Podcast. So I cannot wait to hear them coming in. And I am so grateful to all of you who have showed up here today, who have shown up for me in the podcast too. All the women who have come before this and who I've already had interviews with, who you will listen to later. I want to say a massive mahalo nui loa. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your brave story with me. Thank you to those of you living the brave story right now, because every woman has a brave story in her. And each of us has something to share, a gift to share. And this is really about lifting one another up and sharing our tools, sharing our gifts. And if this spoke to you today, then I would sincerely appreciate if you share this episode or Her Brave Story podcast with someone who needs to hear her brave story, because this helps us amplify women's stories and women's voices, because women's stories matter. And we want other amazing people like you to find us and to join this conversation and to join our circle. Wherever you are today, I want to say thank you, and that you are worth it. I am going to add our song here, if I can find it, which is Spring. So we can go out on that. Not. Ooh. All right, we're not really finding it. That's okay. That's okay. We're not going to need it for this. We're not going to have our music, and that's okay. That's all part of it. That's embracing this brilliance and imperfection at the same time. To all the mamas out there in the throes of mothering, thank you so much for being you. Thank you for showing up for your kids and your family every day. Thank you for getting up and doing the work even when you're tired and you are covered in vomit and sometimes urine or feces. And when you haven't eaten and your entire family has eaten, and when you can't get sleep at night because your child is kicking you in the back or sticking their feet under you or poking you in the face, or when you've done all the laundry for everyone else and you still can't find a pair of clean underpants, or you just don't have time to go to the hairdresser or to do the normal things that you would have done beforehand, and you feel like a complete wreck, I want you to know that I see you, I support you, I'm celebrating you, and I'm so excited to share more women's stories with you. This Mother's Day, brag on her brave mama and head over to herbраvestorypodcast.com, where you're going to find the show notes. Yes, there are show notes, and we have partners, and you can get freebies, and you can get more resources there, and you can connect to the group that I have where we can go deeper. Wherever you are today, I want you to know that you're worth it. Thank you so much again for thriving, for joining this conversation. That is my calling, my beautiful son. Thrive on, brave soul. We're going to go out with the cheering. Let's go out with cheering. I'm going to play it now. Woo!
Can you not come out yet?
Yeah, I'm going to come out now.
No, I said, can you not?
Oh, I'm not coming out now.